Hello everybody, my name is Michael with Retro Revive Repairs, and today we have a copy of Pokemon Sapphire for the Game Boy Advance. Now this is a mail-in order, and the customer states that it will not work. So we're going to use a Game Boy Advance SP here, slap it into the cartridge, turn it on. Alright, and it looks like it's loading. The internal battery has run dry. The game can be played. This is normal. The battery usually dies. Well, the game looks to be playing fine to me. But I don't want to mess up his profile too much, but just to make sure the game is working, I'm going to run into a quick Pokemon battle real quick. I'm going to go ahead and... oh, his Wingull is paralyzed. Let's swap out and see what else he's got. Let's use the Gyarados. I don't know how you say it. I always love this old Pokemon Sapphire music. It's so great. Looks like he's already defeated everyone in this area. Like I said, I don't want to mess up his save file too much because it is his. But I do want to make sure that this game is in complete working order. Now, I do remember one of my favorite Pokemon games is actually Pokemon Omega Ruby for the 3DS. Looks to me like this game is working absolutely fantastic. But we're going to do a little bit of maintenance on it just to be sure. Using a tri-wing screwdriver to take the one screw out of the back. And the entire case will slide down. And this front cover will come off, revealing the PCB. Not sure if you can see that. There is a bit of corrosion, and there is a bit of dirt on these contacts. But the game was playing fine for me. So I'm not 100% sure what the issue could be. I do see a bit of corrosion. We're going to go ahead and get all that cleaned off. So the first thing I'm going to do with this cartridge is I am going to just clean it off with a bit of isopropyl alcohol on a Q-tip. I use 90% isopropyl alcohol, and we're just going to run over the pins and see what we can clean off of here. Now, I'm sure the original problem this customer was having was, or I'm sure his cartridge slot was likely dirty, combined with the slight dirt that is on this. I keep a very clean cartridge slot on my consoles, so that could be potentially causing his issue on his end. I will reach out to this customer and make sure that his cartridge slot is clean. If you're encountering a similar issue, the best thing you can do is put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on a cartridge like this, preferably a cartridge you don't care about, but put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on a cartridge like this, on these pins, and then insert it and remove it from the cartridge from the card slot several times, so that way you can clean all the pins off. You can get one of these, which is a 1-up card. These work on all of the standard Game Boy models, and you basically just take your console and insert it in several times, and it will clean out your cartridge slot. Now, I'm not going to use it on mine because mine is very clean, but I do use it on consoles that I get in that have a dirty cartridge slot. Back to the copy of Pokemon Sapphire. I'm just going to clean the pins a little bit more with isopropyl alcohol. Some of this stuff is not coming off, but I believe these are also just grounding pins, which are still important, but should not prevent any issues with data being transferred. Alright, so some of this stuff I actually cannot get off, so we're going to step it up just a little bit with some white vinegar, so it should help clean that corrosion off without being too violent. So going to hit this test point right here with just a little bit of vinegar right here, just to clean it off, as well as this little area down here. And I am also going to take a very, very small piece of 600 grit sandpaper, and we are just going to clean these contacts just a little bit more. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put this back in its case. I'm not going to put the screw back in just because we're going to have to take it apart here again in a minute, but put it back in the Gameboy Advance. I'm a big fan of the SP myself personally. I like the clamshell design of it. It does look like the game is booting. Internal battery has run dry. Yes, we are going to replace that as well. We're just going to play on his save file again. Not going to change anything just because I know Pokemon save files are very valuable. I value my save files as well, but we do need to verify that this is working. I am going to just, all I'm going to do is move his character to the center of, well, I was hoping it was going to be the center. This is this is infuriating that I can't sit in the middle of this Pokeball. Well, I'm just going to stand in front of the counter here, and we're going to save. Just to make sure the save function works. Fantastic. Turn it back on. And yeah, save function works fine because we were, originally when we started, we were over here at the computer. And now we are here. So, save function works. Everything in this game seems to work for me. Now, I do see a little bit of corrosion under this chip here. Under this real-time clock chip, which is U3. So I am going to remove this chip for just a minute so we can clean it. Alright, now with the real-time clock chip removed, we're going to hit these pads with a little bit of IPA to to clean up any leftover flux. And then we grab just a little bit of white vinegar and put it on this trace here, this via, and let it sit for just a minute. Hi there, Editing Michael here. So what we're doing now is we are actually going to take a look under the microscope to clean off a lot of the corrosion that's under this board. I also noticed that there was a via that was very, very corroded over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run a wire to the connection point on the other side, which goes to a point on the real-time clock chip. After that, I'm going to tape this wire down with a little bit of Kapton tape, and then we are going to make sure everything works again. This wire isn't 100% necessary, but the trace is broken, and I would like to repair it just to make sure that it is working perfectly. So I'm going to let you all watch that, and I will get back to you in a minute. Alright, so this cartridge is about as clean as I'm going to be able to get it. So we've ran our wire here from this test point through the board to this pin on the real-time clock chip, and I don't believe this is actually used for anything for gameplay. However, it is a test point and the trace was corroded, so I went ahead and replaced it just while I was in here. So now all we're going to do is we're going to replace this battery, and we're going to get it all back together and make sure everything works. Alright, so we have our new battery here, but before that I just want to test this one in circuit to confirm it is dead. I mean, we know it's dead, but I want to see how dead it is. 44 millivolts, that is bad. So compared to this one, which should measure at 3.3 volts, yep, perfect. So that should fix our issue with that. So we're going to go ahead and desolder this battery and solder in a new one. And for the safety of the cartridge, we always remove the positive lead first. Don't remove the negative lead first. It's not a huge deal if you do, but it is a good practice to remove the positive lead first. Then we go ahead and grab it here so that way it does not fall back down onto our board. Solder the other leg, and it comes right off. This is a Renata 1620 3.3 volt lithium battery. I bought this off of Console 5, but you also can get it off of sites like DigiKey and Mouser. I would not recommend buying these in bulk off of Amazon, as these often do come undercharged and will not last as long as the manufactured parts that come from these more reputable websites. Alright, so I did have to hit the inside of this case with just a little bit of fine sandpaper to get rid of a little bit of corrosion that was building up on the plastic. Otherwise, this cartridge is fully ready, I believe, to be sent back to its home. Always like to give it a quick final look over to make sure nothing else looks askew, and everything checks out in my book. So we're going to go ahead and reinstall it into the shell. It goes here, and then you push up, and then we reinstall the single tri-point screw. That's way too zoomed in. Install the single tri-point screw, and now it is all back together. Let's play some Pokemon. Going to go ahead and also test it on a horizontal Gameboy Advance, just in case that is the model that the customer has as well, just to make sure it works on both models. Something that I actually just thought about is I'm going to go ahead and see what he was doing with his Pokemon boxes and see if maybe that was causing the crashing issue, because I actually haven't messed with this yet. Alright, and the final thing we are going to do is make sure we put him right back where he was. Actually, I just realized I took a bunch of Pokemon out, so we're going to restart the game real quick. And we're going to put him right back where he was. Gonna save the game real quick. Turn everything off. Turn it back on again. Alright, so we have put him right back where he was when we loaded up the game for the first time. So no progress made or no progress lost, just a little bit of time taken up on the RTC. So that's it for this video. So we did go ahead and give this cartridge a full cleanup, as well as replace the battery. We cleaned up the corrosion and ran a wire for a broken trace. And in my opinion, this cartridge is ready to go back to its home. I'm going to continue doing some testing off camera, so that way we are 100% sure that this thing is working, and so that way the customer can get it back in the perfect condition possible. Like I said several times throughout this video, I'm also going to reach out, make sure that his cartridge slot is clean, because that may have been part of the reason that it wasn't reading for him, but it booted up straight away for myself. But either way, this cartridge is ready to go back to its home. If you would like to send in your own cartridge or console for repair, you can go to retroreviverepair.com. We also offer custom modding services if you'd like to have something like a new shell or IPS screen installed. If you don't see anything on our website that you are looking for, you can go ahead and send us an email as well, and we will be sure to respond very, very quickly. Check out our social media in the description as well, and also make sure that you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. I'd like to thank you all for watching Retro Revive Repairs, and have a good day.